Hello and welcome, folks, to round 9 of the ChampCar iRacing Sprint Series. Today, featuring the TCR class racing at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We've got nearly 30 drivers signed up for the session here today, rolling out around the practice session, or the qualifying session, and it looks like it's going to be a close one up at the top with how the qualifying times are starting to shake out. Round 9 of the ChampCar iRacing Series is, of course, round 9 of 12 of our year-long racing series, where drivers have the chance to go and win some pretty big prizes. Can you get those prizes up on the screen there? Our full season-long ChampCar Sprint Series winner is going to win 2,000 champ bucks in the points battle for the year. We've got the Best Be Here Club, the random prize draw club for drivers who show up for 4 random races in a row throughout the season. They can get entered into a draw for 250 bucks. And we've got the Team Endurance Series, which I think drivers are starting to think about. That'll happen later this year, where each race winner will have a race winning team will win 150 champ bucks, along with a $400 champ buck prize for the season, the Endurance Series champion. It's a great race, and it looks like I'm going to be covering this qualifying session all by my lonesome. This is Devin Peters joining you from way up north of Canada. A little bit of a drive out to mid-Ohio, but luckily the sim brings it close to home. Jumping into our qualifying session here, we've got just about 5 minutes left as drivers are weaving their way around the track. Michael Polisek is sitting on the pole. Not completely unsurprising. Polisek's on a streak. He's got 5 wins in a row in 5 races started, and the TCR class is his favorite. So strong favorite out there today. Put in the fastest lap in practice. He's got the fastest lap in qualifying. We'll see if anyone has what it takes to catch him. Second place on the grid right now is Ryan Puchtel. He's got that green and black car, the usual suspects up at the front here. Puchtel's been pushing Polisek hard this year. Second place in the points last season behind Polisek, and currently sitting in second place with a couple drop weeks factored in. Jared Collins is third in the points, running the Oreo livery today. My vote for best livery so far. And a newcomer today, we've got Fouad Al-Rilje, who's driving the Yart sponsored car. Looking clean, purple and gold. He's putting in some quick lap times, low 27s there. And he is gonna give our lead pack something a little bit different. We haven't had another driver up in the top 5 so far this season that's really been able to put some pressure, so we'll see what he brings to the table. Then 4th in the points and 5th on the grid right now is Michael Chase, running that beautiful Audi liveried car. And you want to know, it's an Audi race car, so that makes sense. It's RS3 LMS. Looks like the Audis are the preferred TCR car. We got the top 6 running that right now. And as this qualifying session carries on, it looks like some of the good might be out of the track. We're seeing a few quickest sectors, but most of the fastest laps happened early on. Lee Martin, actually, in 21st place, has put together a few good sectors through the first half of the lap. He comes into this final turn 12 here, turn 12 and 13 in Mid-Ohio, challenging Ben's right-hander that seems to go on forever, left-hander that's a little bit faster than you think it is, comes across the line, does Lee, and he gets up to 19th place, and he'll show us the rest of the lap here. So exiting turn number 1, fast up the hill. We don't run the chicane in this series. Hard braking up over the hill and turning down into the right. You can run a double apex, you can run a single apex. You don't want to run too wide, as Lee shows us there, because you do lose a little bit, but these TCR cars being front wheel drive will tend to push a little bit on exit as you come out of the keyhole. The start finish line in Mid-Ohio is on the back straight here before you get down to turn 4. And turn 5 up the hill. Single file through here most of the time in a racing condition. Hard on the brakes into 6, and you're into the S's. 7, 8, and 9, flowing over the hill blind on the right-hander here. Hard on the brakes again, and then again blind to the exit, so you can't quite see where you're going. Really have to time your throttle application there. Make sure you don't go out too wide on the exit. Turning back in to the left, we've got turn 11, and then we're right back where we started this on board in the carousel, closing out the lap. The pit exit there is on the left, and it's a challenging one. We saw a few drivers earlier in the practice and even in the qualifying session practicing that entry. In these TCR cars, it's really narrow once you get off the track onto the pit lane. So the pit entry going to matter a lot here, as it always tends to in these ChampCar races, because you gotta get your pit stop right if you want to be running at the front of these things. A pit stop always required in the ChampCar Sprint Series, just to give us a little taste of that endurance flavor, even though we're only running 1 hour races today. Fixed setups for all the cars, so only driver talent on display. One of the nice things about the sim racing course, you can get your completely identical vehicles onto the grid, and no like secret performance enhancers going on here, only ones that we know about. And the nut between the wheel and the seat being the key difference between all our drivers today. And coming up, looks like our qualifying session is coming to an end, so no movement in the top 5. A few drivers still out there running hot laps. Right now we've got Cameron Sennhauser, 17th, running the Puma livery. Then he's going to come to the line, and I think that might not have been a fast one, judging by the way he was wiggling through the final sector there. Up to 17th place, so a little improvement, but maybe not quite the lap Sennhauser was looking for. Only one half of the Sennhauser brothers here today. I don't know if Logan's protesting the TCRs. Who else do we got out there? Matt McGee. Looks like he's running a quick lap for himself. Got a few quickest sectors. Matt McGee, one of several Canadian drivers out on the field. This is my own personal little side race that I always watch. John Sirota and Matt McGee are competing for the fastest Canuck on the grid. Matt McGee is following Brian Tidd, another Canadian driver, to the line, and it looks like he's maybe getting a bit of a tow. Let's see if it's enough to make him move up the timing screen. Not quite enough to get ahead of John Sirota. And the Salins car finishing it out for us, Tim Wire, series regular, always rocking the Salins livery. Again, brings it to the line for us. In that 42 car. So with looks like 30 drivers all in completing a lap for us today, 29 drivers completing a lap for us today, we'll have a busy grid out here in Mid-Ohio. Track where it can be a little bit challenging to pass, but we'll take a moment here, just get our comms all set up and get our driver's briefing done, and then we'll be right back to the broadcast.
Hello and welcome, David Haynes here. at Mid-Ohio TCR, getting ready to roll on the grid for round 9 of the ChampCar iRacing Series. The championship leader, Michael Polasek, is on the provisional pole position. That's Ryan Puxell there alongside him on the front row of the grid. Jared Collins in third, Fawad Al-Ridgely in fourth, Michael Chase fifth, and Ian Giebler sixth place. David Martin seventh on the grid from Simon Fairweather, Jack Stadola, and Andy Kosick, the hometown Ohioan, inside of the top 10. Go Buckeyes! Andrew Huggins is 11th on the grid from Tim Wyatt. In 12th, Alex Harrison 13th, Will Warren 14th, Jean Sorota 15th on the grid from Matt McGee. In 16th, Cameron Senhauser in 17th, Blake Trowick in 18th, Lee Martin 19th, and Tim Taplin 20th. And the remaining drivers who set qualifying times: Ross Dudridge, John Nicholford, Brian Tidd, James Helbling, Stephen Stoddard, Steve Hermetz, Kevin Glass, Bill Salen, and Cindy Pickett. 29 turbocharged touring cars rolling on the formation lap at Mid-Ohio. The iRacing sedan pace car that leads our field, heavily representing the four rings of Audi, but Honda Civics, Hyundai Elantra, and Hyundai Veloster also available as the four models of touring car. This is the fastest straight on the track down towards the braking zone at turn 4, therefore the best overtaking opportunity that you often see.
Got some angry TCRs chasing around that pace car, Haynes.
And we got the points. Jared Collins 272, Ryan Puxell 264, Michael Polasek 5 wins in a row, 250, and then Michael Chase, Ryan Carwile, Lincoln Fox, David Martin, Ian Giebler, Alex Harrison, and Kyle Robertson is our top 10 after 8 rounds with 4 to go. Every race matters. And Michael Polasek could probably begin to close that gap yet further if he can convert today's pole position into a win. It is a long and strategic race yet to come.
Yeah, Jared Collins and Ryan Puxell aren't that far either, though. They just need to snap a few away from him here. He'd be perfect every time.
Is in pit lane, and the green flag waves for Michael Polasek and Ryan Puxell, the front row of the grid. 60 minutes begins at Mid-Ohio as they roar down towards turn 1. Cold tyres throughout the field require caution underneath the bridge around the outside of the pit exit at turn 1. Michael Polasek, that horse, has already bolted. Rest of the field comes from turn 1, bypassing the keyhole directly to the hairpin. Jared Collins up into second place at the expense of Ryan Puxell now. Fawad Ridgely still in fourth. Super close in that second, third, and fourth as they slam on the brakes. Andy Kosick's made up a couple in his machine, and there's a little bit of contact back there. Andrew Huggins. Oh, I didn't catch.
Sean Nicholford's facing the wrong way, and it looks like Will Warren was given a push there as well. So 3 cars written off, and a couple cars struggling, I think, with some damage there. You see the contact between Will Warren and that was Andrew Huggins. And then a couple more cars that found the grass a little bit later on through the S's. And
we're 1 lap completed now. Michael Polasek leading 1.2 seconds ahead of Jared Collins. So maybe breaking the slipstream here could be the strategy. Ryan Puchtel in third, leading that next group. Alex Harrison with a bit of damage, I think, is the first driver to drive into pit lane. Yeah, he's missing that Honda front bumper.
Easy to replace in the simulator. Gets a new one bolted on.
But he also needs more fuel, so I think that's going on for him at the moment.
Mid-Ohio, a course that lends itself to single-file racing, and Michael Polasek is taking advantage of that, I think.
It's one of those tracks you can scarcely believe it used to be shorter and narrower, but somehow that was possible. It's had a couple of little updates, but been an absolute fixture of sports car racing in mid-Ohio for decades and decades now. This is the group just behind third place. So Puchtel in the SimCity Racing livery of black and fluoro. And just behind him, Fawad Al Ridgely, Michael Chase and Ian Giebler. And they got a breakaway from Tim Wire in seventh, who's up 5 positions and managed to wrestle one back away from Andy Kosick. And then David Martin and Jack Stodola is that top 10 completed as Michael Polasek continues to build temperature into the tyres and lay down a new fastest lap of the race, but eventually those tyres will overheat. The temperature on the track is not outrageously brutal, but this car is very brutal on its tyres.
Yeah, it looked like in the qualifying, drivers were putting on a new set after only one lap, so it loses a lot of goodness right away as soon as some heat gets in it.
Battle for the podium continues, and this is where I feel like the slipstream will be relatively powerful. Fawad Al Ridgely sitting sort of 2 to 3 car lengths behind Ryan Puchtel, Michael Chase, and then Ian Giebler behind him. A good drive off the hairpin at turn 2. And you can then follow very, very closely. TCR cars, as they went along, kept getting more little aerodynamic bits tacked onto them, and this Audi RS3 is one of the latest. So it feels like it follows through the air relatively well.
Polsek just taking a couple tenths out of the guys behind every lap right now, it feels like. And interesting. We've seen him try to do the win from the front strategy a couple times, but we haven't seen him drive away like this in one of our races just yet. But the TCR car, his specialty, and it's showing today.
So it looks like Stodola and Kosick side by side. Coming onto the back straight. Oh, this is into the braking zone. Truly side by side. And Stodola gets past Kosick. So a great getaway wherever he positioned himself on that opening lap. Kosick picked up a couple of positions, but he has since had Tim Wire and then David Martin and then Jack Stodola pass him back. And you can see leader of the Devon Peters Cup behind him.
Oh yeah, I was telling the viewers all about that. I love a little bit of action between John Sirota. Kevin Glass actually had a pretty quick time in practice, so...
But now Wire's gone off and they've gone by him.
Oh yeah, we're seeing it here. Easy to get loose. And someone's got to tell Wire he's got to just hit the gas more when the car gets loose in the front wheel drive. Cameron Sennhauser coming around the outside as Wire tries to cool those tires, find his senses a little bit.
For the podium of the Devon Peters Canadian Cup, it's going crazy around 18th place. Brian Tidd, Kevin Glass, Steve Hermetz all together here with Cindy Pickett just behind. Bill Salen's trying to disrupt the Cup in 22nd with 4 Canadians in front of him.
So we got that metric displacement up here, not the imperial displacement. So cars are a little slower.
Anything under 5 litres described in cubic inches just sounds wrong. It's the wrong unit type for that type of stuff. But they go side by side for that 3rd position. I think this is, Brian Tidd and Kevin Glass getting side by side in that moment.
Yeah, having a little battle. Just ahead of them, I think I saw Ross Dudridge getting passed by Will Warren in the VP racing car. Ross Dudridge of UK heritage, trying to drive his country's chosen racing class, I think, touring cars, and hold off the American.
First, says John Cleland, and such things.
There you go. Wow, that's Steve Hermetz looking up the inside of Brian Tidd.
Really good line. Gets the inside with this little kink down the back straight, and then you're just looking for the cones and your braking marker. Yeah, about 4 cones to be right. Now you've got to stop it and get it turned going up the hill, and whoever gets to that apex at the left at the top of the hill usually wins.
Yeah, there's not a lot of passing zones here, but that's the best one. Without getting really creative, and he shows you how it's done.
Tim Wire comes in, so we saw him off the road earlier, so he's gone for an early stop.
Yeah, and I think might be early enough to make the fuel work. We'll have to see. Does look like a long fuel stop planned here. Meanwhile, rejoining the action, Matt McGee is holding up the likes of Blake Trawick just behind. Trawick in the Orca car, trying to find a little bit of a run. Had a lot of pressure on Matt as they were going through the carousel. This time, Matt gets a good exit coming out of the keyhole. And looks like he'll have a comfortable gap. But as you can see, these cars can kind of be driven a few different ways, and Blake is making it work through the S's. Gets right up on that rear bumper.
Car always gets light and wants to push wide over that crest, so you've got to judge it correctly, but you're also a little bit blind because of the crest.
Yeah, it's challenging out there for sure. And technically 4 different cars eligible for the TCR class on iRacing. Most of the field choosing the Audi RS3 LMS today, including these 2, but Cameron Sennhauser just behind him is driving the Honda Civic, trying to put some pressure on him. And Sennhauser charging in under the braking. But I think both of them are seeing the exit that Matt ends up with ahead. Maybe needing to revise their notes a little bit because he gets away from them on the exit every time. Up in the podium positions, Ryan Puchtel's under a little bit of pressure from Fuad Al-Rilje. Runs a little bit wide on the exit. Before heading down Thunder Valley and up towards the carousel. starting to see some smoke coming from up ahead too. Jared Collins is working hard, hustling, doing his best to try and chase down Polasek, but Polasek's just in the edge of the camera shot. You see him go through turn number 1 there, up ahead of these guys, and he's clearing out. Gap's almost 3 seconds for Polasek.
Yeah, and then closing a little second and third, isn't it? So Puckdell finding just a couple of tenths back versus Collins, and if he can get back within 1 second, then he might be able to find a little bit of slipstream in places like here on the track.
Despite being hatchbacks, there's less of a slipstream on these things than I would expect, but they get through the air pretty smooth, pretty efficient. Big dab of the brakes for Ryan Puckdell. He gets it turned in. With these front-wheel drive cars, you got to kind of rough them around a little bit, especially on entry, I find.
Some corners where they really want to turn in by themselves, and there's other corners where they really don't, and you spend the whole stint going rearwards and rearwards on the brake bias for that corner, and others where you're trying to just be a little careful with it. So it usually wants to turn into 1. It's usually pretty good at turning into turn 9. Then it doesn't really want to turn up here, and Puckdell gets a bit closer this lap again to that second place. A place where the car doesn't want to turn, and it does need that coaxing is through those ones there. Turn 4, and across the top of the hill at 5, the nose also washes out.
Yeah, you got just about enough camber there to help you out. Back in the pack in about 12th place, 16th place, you got Matt McGee and Cameron Sennhauser. I had it right the first time. 11th to 12th place. Battling. Sennhauser seems to be a bit of a late breaker and putting pressure up the hill. Matt McGee makes an error on the hill at Thunder Valley. They're going to be too wide going up the straight. McGee's off the line. Kind of hard to hold it from the inside here, and he won't. Clean sweep from Sennhauser, and another mistake from Matt McGee, trying not to compound the errors at this point. Blake Trowick now right on his rear bumper. And McGee going to try and find something on the exit, but Trowick's going to do better, and it's going to be another position here unless Matt can do something heroic on the outside. Hard to do. And Matt just struggling at this point in the stint. Those tires might be a little bit hot on that car.
Yeah, fixed setup for everyone, but there's 1 or 2 things that are adjustable from the cockpit for the drivers, and the brake bias is key among them.
Yeah, over a full race stint, you really got to be managing front to rear in these cars.
Practice your bus driver. Move it on back, move it on back.
McGee really struggling though. You can see it just not getting to the apex where he wants to. Car's washing out on him.
And this middle part of the field here is where some of the sensations are. So Sennhauser and Trowick both +6 positions. Tim Taplin was +6, but Lee Martin's just got by him there as Taplin comes into the lane.
Yeah, I think Taplin saw what was going on ahead of him. Oh, he might have overshot his box, though, and he does. Backs it up. Maybe a little bit further back than he expected. Oh, no. This is a tragedy.
I think we're on 3 bites of the cherry there to try to get it in the pit stall, and it still hasn't. Yeah, now it's kind of gone in there, but yeah, overshot, had to reverse, had to drive forward.
Biggest gainer of the race so far, though, is Kevin Glass, 15th place right now, and started in 27th. I think he had a hard time putting together a qualifying lap by the looks of things. 129.8. He's running almost a second faster than that last time by, as he put a move on Will Warren and was able to take the spot away. I think he's got his eyes up the road for Jean Sirota, hoping to be the fastest Canadian.
Unfortunately, Will Warren finds himself a lap down, but when these drivers pit, he very well may end up back higher up. Here's Tim Wyatt. He's made his pit stop. Now he's passing a bunch of drivers that haven't. Goes past Cindy Pickett. Alex Harrison's got to do the same, but he runs just a little bit wide behind Pickett.
Pickett's got the classic carpet livery. Love it.
I'm looking closely.
I think you got that shirt, Haynes.
I think this might be a slightly different pattern.
May have been some modifications to accompany or to accommodate the Hyundai Elantra underneath all that. Looking good, though.
Oh, no, I see it. Okay, yeah. It's one of the slightly different versions. Steady gaps, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, but all of them are being left behind by race leader Michael Polisek, so it still remains basically a second between Collins and Puchtel. Foadel originally getting a little bit closer to Puchtel just there, but the leader's margin moving from 3 seconds to 4 seconds to about 4.8 at the moment. He's just going into the braking zone of turn 4. We're just arriving there now with this group of drivers.
And I don't know if it's driving style for sure. Al Ridgely really seems to be a late breaker and really closes up on the entry. And definitely got to feel a little threatened if you're Ryan Puchtel with that car bearing down on you into turn 4. Hard to resist not taking a defensive line, but of course that's what those late breakers want you to do, is close up on you.
This is the onboard. Top right, the drivers know how much fuel they've got because of that. They know their most recent lap time in the red bar. And something about the slightly italicized font of the gear selection makes all of them make me think of Dale Earnhardt.
Does give a little bit of that as they pull 3rd gear.
Yeah, 2nd into Dale Earnhardt, then upshift into 4th. Yep.
So it was real authentic. It would just stop at 4th, you know.
Well, in typical Audi fashion, 1st and 2nd gear are too short to be any use, and 6th gear is too tall. Almost as useless as some of the BMW gear ratios, like their 8-speed GT4, where about 3 of those gears are usable.
Classic.
Weil you see, this is the gear that is for cruising on the Autobahn.
Yes. Yeah, we should get us an Autobahn. Though most of the roads up here are straight enough and long enough that you can go as fast as you want, because you can see miles and miles ahead.
If I could trust our drivers, I still wouldn't trust our animals.
Fair.
You think a kangaroo could safely cross an Autobahn? I don't think so.
Yeah, I wouldn't like it for anyone involved in that one.
Tiny bit of traffic now for the race leader, such as his advantage, that there's a bunch of drivers that were sort of mid-pack, tail-pack, have pitted and are now going a lap down to Polasek. So that looks like Taplin and Huggins, who've both stopped, are battling each other, but have just had to have a momentary ceasefire as the race leader comes through.
It's nice sometimes to get a little break when the blue flags fly. Won't be long though before the next cars are upon them.
And the next group of drivers who've pitted that are going to battle it out is also looking like Alex Harrison is catching Tim Wire, 21st and 22nd. So battles just coming back together after a couple of early pit stops. 6 minutes from the halfway point when you'd expect a few more pit stops. It's only a few that have taken onboard fuel. The top 20 still haven't made their stop yet.
Follow along with
the Cameron Senhauser and Blake Trowick, 11th and 12th, going into the carousel. They've kind of left Lee Martin and Matt McGee and a few of those others behind, just as everyone finds their race rhythm.
Well, and critically, I'd say they're running a bit faster than John Sirota up ahead with the two of them staying in line like this. So I do think that 3 more laps of this and they'll be getting up to Jean's rear bumper. Depending on the driver, that can be a good thing or a bad thing. It can be hard to drive fast all on your own sometimes.
That's where you got to decide if you want the delta up or not, sort of coaxing you to push harder, or just let you drive the pace that feels natural. Exactly how much information on my speed and my lap times do I need when you're sort of trying to lap smoothly and consistently by yourself? And that sun is out, the track temperature is rising, the tires will be heating up. So what is a good lap is actually constantly changing lap on lap. Helbling and Nickelford, Helbling in fluoro and black, and Nickelford LA Honda World.
Yeah, Helbling was involved in a little bit of chaos on lap 1, but managed to keep it pointed more or less the right way.
So we're seeing Nickelford a bit over a second quicker last lap. That's how he's gotten to the back of Helbling here, but we've seen his attempts at overtakes have not been yet successful. Can't wait too long because Tim Wire is coming.
Yeah, I was going to say a little bit of battling is a good time, but Wire sees an opportunity here.
And so long as you stay on the road making that right-hander, you'll complete the pass. Opportunity for Michael Chase and Ian Giebler to make their pit stops as the top 5 are beginning to approach a tiny bit of lap traffic. So there's Chase in the 4 Rings livery, just ahead of Ian Giebler. Not too many pit stalls apart. 24 seconds of fuel for Michael Chase. And it is fuel only.
Yeah, and the rules in these cars, fuel and tires separate, I believe. So tires are an expensive proposition, but we did see a lot of drop-off on the tires. So it might be interesting to see if anyone tries and sneak a front axle set on.
Fidel Ridgely dives for pit lane. So again, trying to pick a moment amongst the traffic. Polasek, Collins and Puchtel stay out, but from 4th place, he's looking for his crew just as Matt McGee is leaving. I think McGee looks like he took front tyres, so a longer stop, but he could be very quick towards the end here. Don't know if you'll get all of that 23 seconds back, but you'll get a big chunk of it back, and you'll feel like a superhero for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think there was a little debate about what the best strategy is. Comes down to how hard you're wearing them. Fouad's going to come back out with not a lot of traffic behind, but Blake Trowick, Cameron Sennhauser, and John Sirota up ahead. And we've checked in a few times on Trowick and Sennhauser's battle. So that could be a factor for him. He'll be hoping they pit soon. A few more cars on the lane. We got Lee Martin, Brian Tidd, Ross Dudridge, and Stephen Hermet's all hitting the lane. And I think a lot of drivers being caught out by how long the pit lane is here. And we see another one. Gotta be careful backing up in the pit lane. You can get yourself a penalty for that if you're not careful.
Yeah, anything more than about a car length could get you in trouble.
Bill Salen is going to have that issue. Oh no, Bill Salen might have had that issue. I think he, unless he was serving a drive-through, he may have missed his box.
Well, the pit stalls are given based on qualifying order. So Michael Polasek as pole sitter has the pit stall all the way at the exit. There are 28 pit stalls. It means that if you, for example, qualified, I don't know, 28th, you'd have the very first pit stall on the way in if you were Bill Salen.
Yeah, and it comes up very fast. So catching a few people out. David Martin, John Sirota, Cameron Sennhauser hitting the lane. Oh, and Kevin Klass risking it, backing up a long way. He might have gotten away with that one. We'll see what the flag says when he leaves.
Yeah. Glass was 27th on the grid, so he's got the second one on the way in, and Bill Salen's got the one just behind him. Other pit stops underway, so 22 seconds for David Martin. 21.5 seconds for Cameron Sennhauser. Jean Sirota's getting the front tyres, and the race leader, Michael Polasek, is now in the lane. He's not going to miss his crew because he's got to go all the way to the end. Right at the pit exit end of the lane is where Team Polasek are.
Jared Collins diving in early, making sure that he doesn't miss his box.
Yeah, so Collins follows Polasek, but Ryan Puchtel stays out for another lap. Pretty important in the Ryan Puchtel versus Jared Collins battle. Jack Sadola and Andrew Kosick come in, so it's almost all of the field in the last 2 or 3 laps that we've had for Michael Polasek. 20.9 seconds. He's rolling back out into the race.
Collins comes out, very similar stopped time. So what kind of undercut you getting here? If you're Pucktel, you're hoping it's a good one. If you're Polisek, you're hoping it's not.
Blake Trowick also with a very sharp stop. So I think that's going to have him ahead of Lee Martin, but just behind Alex Harrison. And Cameron Stenhauser in the back. So we get all of these pit stops and then a whole lot of battles come back together. These drivers who pitted really early and looked out of the running suddenly look like, if they were running well in that clean air early, that they're back in play for some points. Ryan Pucktel will be the last driver that we see pit. He's in the lane right now. Polisek, you assume, is going to go back into the race lead, but it could be relatively close between Pucktel here, Collins in third, and Fouad El Ridgely in fourth.
Yep. How much fuel do you need? How much are you willing to risk? Was pretty short there from Pucktel. Was he able to save a little bit in that first stint? We'll see. Comes out, Jared Collins is right on him. And gonna try and make a move around the outside, but that's hard to do. Pucktel holds the inside line. And it's really dirty on the outside there because it's such a one-lane corner.
Yeah, we haven't seen much side-by-side through there, so the high line is a bit dirty around there, and Pucktel looks like he's going to try to defend this second place. Ran one lap longer, had a slightly quicker stop, and has come out ahead of Jared Collins, who's looking real racy and punchy for this one. Second and third on the road, and they're 3 seconds clear of Fouad El Ridgely, so I don't know exactly where that time was lost for the driver of the 22. But it puts Pucktel and Collins in a space where they can spend a lap or two really fighting here if they want to.
I honestly think it's just Pucktel nailing that pit stop. He was in the gap between Collins and Fouad before, and after that stop, he gained so much that he's managed to take the track position from Collins. He was one of the drivers that I saw just practicing that pit entry several different times. You can really nail that corner on the way in. You can gain a little bit here.
Would you say that pit lane speed is 45 miles an hour here at Mid-Ohio?
Oh, I'd say right about that. What's it look like? 45 miles it is. Yeah, 45 miles an hour it is.
So, looking at some of where everyone is on track, where the spaces are, this is a tight little group here behind 10th place. So Tim Wire, Alex Harrison, Blake Trowick, Lee Martin has closed in on Trowick since the pit stops. Jack Stadola, Ian Giebler, 7th and 8th. Stadola's up 2 spots in the race. Giebler is down 2 at the moment. Stadola had quite a shorter stop.
Leader's making his way through some lap traffic. Polisek comes out of the keyhole right behind Matt McGee. McGee's moving over, making a little bit of space for the leader, it looks like. And just so nicely balanced by Polisek, just floating that car through the turns, tickling the dirt on the outside. Really dominant performance so far, leading by 10 seconds at this phase of the race.
I ran in the practice race last week, and then after the race I watched, Michael Polisek's quick laps. And it's very, very annoying because it feels like he's taking the same lines that I was, and he was turning in about the same place as me, and just 10% better at every single corner, and therefore a second and a half quicker, and there was no obvious thing to take away that was going to make me better or as quick as Michael Polasek. And that's an incredibly frustrating thing about, the great drivers, is you can look at all of their onboards and their inputs, and you could just never replicate it, or if you tried to do that, it just wouldn't look the same.
Yeah. Still a little bit of magic even in the science-led sport here. Battle for the Canadians is heated up. Everyone from 18th to 22nd participating in the Canada Cup. And this is looks like the battle for... Who's this here? Hermetsglass and Nickelford. So those Canadians I was telling you about, the back half of that group.
And proper Canadians, they've all gone and put their winter tyres on, I think, because every single Canadian took tyres.
Yeah. May have been, I don't know, some strategic decisions there. But working together and all conglomerated together on track. And honestly, I think they took all four. It's a long stop for each of them.
Well, it's 23 for fuel, and then it's about another 22 for front tyres, 44 on top of that for all four tyres. So that looks like fronts. It looks like if you want to see someone who stopped and took four tyres, probably Bill Salen. The second time that he came into the lane when he actually found his pit crew.
Tim Taplin is putting a move on John Sirota, who's leading the Canada Cup. Oh, I got the wrong Canadian. He's put a move on Cindy Pickett, who's a lap down, while chasing down the likes of John Sirota, who himself is trying to battle with Huggins just up the road from this one. Back on our battle here with the back half of Canadians. Kevin Glass leading this group under a little bit of pressure from Stephen Hermetz and John Nickelford. And Nickelford just hammering the red line in that. You can hear it as he goes over the hills in that Honda. It's Western Canada, at least. There's a lot of E-Class, vaguely NASA rule set racing that occurs in Honda Civics. So I wouldn't be surprised to know a couple of these guys do that.
Ryan Puckdell seems to have survived the attacks of Jared Collins. Last lap forward, Ridgely took a little bit of time out of the both of them, but again, traffic comes and goes. It giveth and it taketh. Michael Chase is firmly ensconced in fifth position because, well, he's 10 seconds behind forward Ridgely. He's about 10 seconds ahead of David Martin in sixth. Sadola's our biggest mover inside of the top 10, up into that seventh position. At the expense of Ian Giebler. Andy Kossik's still in that top 10 in ninth, and Tim Wire is in 10th. If you're looking for a lightning bolt, John Sirota in 16th is the highest placed driver with new front tyres, so that will be a benefit at least over the next 10 or so laps, and they're closing in on Andrew Huggins.
Yeah, Andy Kossick briefly on the screen there, but having a quiet one today. I think might win the quietest race of the week award. He's just been lapping quietly since the first couple laps of the race. Hasn't seen anyone, it seems like. watching along here. Jean Sirota following Andrew Huggins. The two of them have been pushing each other hard.
Pushing the track limits
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, Sirota, lucky number 13, and it's showing. There's kind of a few different ways to get it right through there, but that felt a little bit dangerous. Do appreciate these TCR cars with the headlights. In the nighttime, you can flash people real good with them. The daytime, you can also flash them. I don't think it's as effective. And we got Blake Trowick following the likes of, Lee Martin following the likes of Blake Trowick in the Orca car. Trowick favoring that wider exit over the hill. Under a little bit of pressure. Martin was a little quicker on the last lap than Trowick. And has been a little quicker for the last few. And Trowick, a lot of understeer there. Going to be out of position going into the carousel, and Martin's going to take the spot easy.
Carousel, like turn 2, seems to be quite dirty once you get that deep and wide offline. So that was a serious move from Lee Martin. And then side by side, Nickelford and Hermetz. Nickelford up the inside of turn 4 and into 21st position. Stadola's also caught David Martin here, so last lap was very competitive from Jack Stadola. You can see it there, 28.7, 29.7 from David Martin. Let's close this gap right up.
Yeah, that's flying from Stadola.
Yep, just 5 drivers doing 28 last lap. It's the top 4, and it's Jack Stadola.
If you can keep that kind of pace up, he could be knocking on Michael Chase's rear bumper by the end of the race.
Gained 29.4 from David Martin, a 28.8 from Stadola. So 2 laps in a row, he takes a big margin out and maintains pace within the minute to 28 range. Don't know exactly where the strengths of the Honda are. It was a very competitive car when we raced it at Sebring earlier in the season. So maybe some of the longer straights, it can help itself out a little bit and just put some of that pressure on towards turn 4.
Yeah, when we go TCR racing in, or when we go endurance racing later this year, the drivers will have to pick one car and stick with it. But in the sprint series, you're free to change makes between rounds. Stadola definitely making that work, though.
So that difference in front tyre is not bearing out how you would have expected for John Sirota. You would have thought he'd have a fair bit more grip in some important places that might make overtaking a little easier than it has looked. Well, here in Giebler and Andy Kosick, you're saying that Kosick was having a quiet one. Does not seem like it right now.
Yeah, it looks like he's found some pace relative Giebler ahead and closed him down. He's putting some pressure on him now.
The Hyundai Elantra was called the i30 sedan in the Australian market because Mitsubishi Motors Australia had the trademark to a trim level called Elantra.
Oof.
And they thought people would get confused between a Mitsubishi and a Hyundai.
I feel like a modern Hyundai makes a compelling case for a big difference. 15, 20 years ago, I don't know.
So at just about 2.5 miles, Mid-Ohio is on the smaller end of permanent circuits, and there are oval courses longer. Just underneath 2.5 miles, and it means that there's plenty of traffic out there for our leaders, for Ryan Puchtel and for Jared Collins. And as they were caught up through that snake section, this part of the lap from sort of turn 4 through to Thunder Valley, it did allow Jared Collins to get just a little bit closer to Ryan Puchtel again. They exited pit lane and they were so close together. Puchtel appeared to get away a little bit thereafter. Jared Collins is back in the fight right here. And suddenly I'm craving a sandwich cookie. Traffic also for Giebler and Kosick, and I think Kosick looked for an opportunity and then had to go around the outside in a place that meant he wasn't going to get the move done.
Yeah, gotta time your pass right here. Looks like they're going to get a little bit of help from Ross, who gives them some room to race.
Because what if I told you Ross Dudridge is battling Will Warren for position that lap down there, 24th and 25th. Battles aplenty at Mid-Ohio as Dudridge goes wide. Warren's got a good line onto the front straight. So you can only pick, what do you want to watch the battle for 2nd, 6th, 8th, 10th, 15th, 19th or 24th? Or Canada Cup?
You know, hard to choose out there. But yeah, it's busy times out there for everyone. Oh, and in that battle for 24th place, we've got a black flag on for Ross Dudridge. I'm thinking maybe one too many off tracks. Yeah, has managed to accumulate a black flag for instant points, so might have to drive a penalty for that.
"25 incidents is the limit before a drive-through. So in a race that's predicting to go about 41 laps, it means, you know, you can't afford to go off every lap. You can't afford to go off twice a lap. You also can't afford too much car contact.
Alex Harrison battling with Tim Wire and Lee Martin. To come up through Thunder Valley. Wild to think they used to do the little doopsie-doo through there around the oak tree. Mid-Ohio's very own oak tree corner. Really tight together. Kind of ebbing and flowing depending on who does best through each corner. up the road, Andy Kosick is fighting with Ian Giebler as well. They were too wide going into the keyhole. Giebler got the better exit. Sorry, Kosick got the better exit in that minty car.
Yeah,
so Kosick
by Andy Kosick up into 8th now.
And we'll see if he's able to find some of the pace that allowed him to close up on Giebler and try to find his way up the road to the Lexus Stadola. 7 seconds up the road, so it would be a large undertaking to get all the way there. Speaking of, Stadola has been flying too. He's on the rear bumper.
Swing a dead cat without finding a TCR battle.
Yeah, 7 minutes to go, and they've all decided that they want to get together and race once again.
But there's problems for Andrew Huggins.
Oh no.
Meatball flag is out for him. Oh.
Yeah. Looked like...
Yeah, Serrata.
Serrata got a hold of him as he came across the nose, and Huggins tried to carry on, but that car lost something critical in that contact. Hard to survive a hit right on the wheel like that. David Martin and Jack Stadola here coming up on some lap traffic.
So is Ryan Puchtel. That's why he's going to give a flash of the headlights going towards turn 1, because got Jared Collins hot on his heels. It's about 4/10 between them.
Yeah, it feels like it's been 4/10 for the last 20 minutes. These two can't get away from each other.
Top of the hill. Feels like probably the highest point of the racetrack. I just clicked the track facts and somehow I was unaware Mid-Ohio was at as much altitude as it is. That's like 1,200 feet.
It's kind of wild.
Every, I think, 500 feet of elevation, SRO gives naturally aspirated GT3 cars another 0.5 millimeter of air restrictor, so factors into the bop of GT3 here. Such elevation and heading heights. I guess that's why the boats have got to go through so many locks to get to the end of the seaway from the Great Lakes. This is side by side for Harrison and Martin. Harrison, after that very early incident on lap 1 in this race, has worked his way back a couple of positions, clearly passing the likes of Blake Trawick and now Lee Martin.
And he's in the zone, touches the wall on the entry there. Give it a little bit more room than that. But yeah, strong recovery drive from him. I do gotta wonder if the fuel is going to be enough, because he did stop very early.
One of these days, you and I should charter a boat, Devon, and we can sail from Detroit, Belle Isle to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal, making a stop at Cleveland Lakefront Airport.
That sounds like a heck of a boat trip. They're battling.
Now trying to cut his way through, showing his nose to the inside and backing out of it. You would have thought at that point you owed a fair bit of corner.
Yeah, I think McGee, realizing what's going on, has the leaders now with him. Collins going to have to stay wide, and so McGee doesn't fare, at least.
Look how much closer Al Ridgely's gotten as well.
Yeah. Well, I feel for McGee because he's battling with Tim Taplin just up the road too, so he doesn't want to give up too much. When it's a tough spot to do the outside. Our leader's all mixed up with the lap traffic here. Al Ridgely getting boxed in.
It's part of, again, what got him closer to this battle for the podium. Now also makes it a little bit difficult to stay with them. To Thunder Valley, he'll manage to get past, you would think. 2 minutes left on the clock. Michael Polisek crosses the start-finish line to give us 2 more laps of Mid-Ohio, doing very rapid lap times of, that's 88 seconds, just underneath a minute and a half. A bit of power for these cars, and again a sub 2.5 mile lap. We can get around pretty quickly. It's not Road America or Sebring here, that's for sure. This is a battle that is brewing in 4 directions. Ian Giebler, we've seen struggling. Andy Cossack got by him not that long ago. Now Tim Wire, Alex Harrison and Lee Martin are on him. Wire looks to the right hand side, barely has enough space to demand he be left room, as he had his nose half an inch alongside.
Keebler just slow in this phase of the race. 131s last time by. The rest of this pack running low 130s. And I don't know if he's cooked the front tires off that thing, but it seems to be handling real bad. But he's holding on for dear life. Harrison gets a big run, and he's going to take the inside line, giving Tim Wire a push, and the 2 of them will pass Ian Giebler. Giebler coming back under braking though.
Well, Giebler got out of the throttle as he started to push wide in turn 1. He really didn't want that off track, so I wonder if that's one of the things slowing him up. If he's close to 25 incident points, it lets Tim Wire, Alex Harrison and Lee Martin get past in one swoop, but it puts Alex Harrison right on Tim Wire, who takes a defensive line down in towards turn 4. These drivers will know how much time is left on the clock. It's the final lap of the race for the leader. It'll be the white flag shown to these cars when they come around next time.
Good thinking there, Haynes. From what I can see, Giebler's got 19 incidents, so he's probably stressing more than most. Doesn't want to hit that 25 number.
So Polisek, 20 seconds clear, is on a victory lap of Mid-Ohio, while other battles brew. 3-way for second place, 3 ways for 9th place, and even Jack Stadola, I think, getting past David Martin in 6th and 7th. The white flag is out and still waving at the start finish line here. 1 more lap of Mid-Ohio for these drivers to settle their battle, and then Michael Polisek will come through the carousel and take us from 5 wins in a row to 6 wins in a row in 2026 in the ChampCar iRacing series. Michael Polisek can't be stopped at any track or in any car.
Ryan Puckdell leading the battle for the podium. 2nd place under pressure, but it's really Jared Collins who's under pressure from Fuad right behind. Ridgely is going to try and get the run to the line, but it's a short run, and it's going to be Puckdell, Collins, and Al Ridgely at the line for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Michael Chase coming around for 5th, Jack Stadola in 6th. David Martin's pace really dropped off on the last lap there in 7th position. I wonder if he, like Giebler, has started to just really struggle with the tyres right towards the end here.
Tim Wire is holding off a battle behind him. Alex Harrison and Lee Martin under pressure, but by this point in the lap, it's really hard to make a move stick. Got to do something heroic in the carousel if you want it to work, Harrison. He gets real close, but not close enough. And on the exit here, you got to think that it's going to go to Tim Wire, who will cross the line in 9th place, Harrison 10th, Lee Martin 11th. Last battle on track is going to be between Blake Trowick and Cameron Sennhauser. Off again, on again, they've been battling. Sennhauser making up ground. Trowick out of fuel, but at the line, Sennhauser is going to have not quite enough to get past Blake. And that's the last few cars on the lead lap.
Fist fight at Mid-Ohio, 60 minutes of the ChampCar iRacing series in the TCR cars for round 9, and Michael Polasek takes the win. Ryan Puchtel and Jared Collins complete the podium again, but they were only just ahead of forward Al Ridgely. Michael Chase in 5th, Jack Stadola, a good race for him to finish 6th, David Martin in 7th, Andy Kosick top 10 in 8th place. He loves front-wheel drive cars and he loves Ohio, so this should have been him all over. Tim Wire in 9th from Alex Harrison and Lee Martin. What a battle that was right at the end. Ian Giebler fading a little bit to 12th position. Blake Trowick coughing and spluttering to the line in 13th, just ahead of Cameron Sennhauser. John Sirotto wins the Devon Peters Memorial Canadian Cup, except Devon's still alive, in 15th, just ahead of fellow Canadian Matt McGee in 16th. Then there was Tim Taplin in 17th, Kevin Glass, Brian Tidd, and John Nicholford. In 21st was Steve Hemetz and James Helbling in 22nd. Ross Dudridge and Will Warren. 39 laps of 41 completed for Bill Salen and Cindy Pickett. 35 for Andrew Huggins, Simon Foweather, and Stephen Stoddard did not appear to take the start of the race. Devon has gone fishing and found our podium drivers.
Yeah. Am I seeing 3rd place down there? Yeah, there we go.
Was Jared Collins.
There's Jared Collins.
How's it going,
Jared,
guys?
yeah, I was going to say the same to you. It looked like a pretty tight battle between the three you, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th there towards the end of the race.
Yeah, we definitely accordioned. I think Ryan definitely had the pace on us, but it's really hard to pass in these cars. Like, it's hard to maintain your momentum because you can kind of power on off and you can really attack entry. And so some of the lap traffic definitely brought us all together. Fuad too, especially, he had a lot of pace at the end. He was definitely faster than me, but then it kind of reverted where, again, it's hard to pass in these cars without being stupidly aggressive. So was able to hold on to 3rd.
Well, quality drive from you, and it looked. You sound really calm. I'm not going to lie. Was it a bit of a challenge around there? Just got to be focused, or is it pretty easy driving these?
No, it's definitely a challenge. I really struggle with the TCRs because my natural tendency is to want to go faster and to speed up, and the faster you get on the gas, the more you push out. And so I really have to just try and keep calm and focused and delayed. So yeah, it was a good race. Ryan and Polsek definitely had a lot of pace, and so did Fuad. So it was a lot of fun. But yeah, just really trying to manage my own emotions so that I wasn't smashing on the gas and getting really aggressive with the steering wheel.
Well, a quality result, and you get my vote for best paint job in the top 3. So you got that going for you.
Oh man, thanks. I got to get a double stuff. They got to add double stuff to it somewhere. But big fan of the Oreos.
Well, quality stuff. Thanks for coming out and putting on a good show.
Absolutely. Have a good one, you guys.
Not to be confused with producer Michael Derby, who's a big fan of the Orioles, and our other drivers who are big fans of Orcas, and prototype drivers who are big fans of Oricas. There's a lot of confusion out there. We'll keep going through our podium to save our viewers from me. And Ryan Puchtel joins us second place. A good pit strategy to hold down that second place, it seems.
Yeah, that definitely worked out pretty well. Yeah, I was mainly trying to save tires for that first stint, so I had something towards the end. So yeah, tires and fuel, and luckily I came out where I did.
Yeah, going that lap longer, having a slightly quicker stop, was it just a matter of how you attacked pit entry, pit exit? Was it a matter of where the traffic was for the others? What do you think sort of gave you that leg up?
I was just fuel saving heavily that first stint going around. But yeah, good. Luckily, during that extra lap, I didn't have any traffic, so I was able to push a little bit.
Fantastic. And it being, the tight little track that it is, and Jared telling us that these cars are challenging to overtake in, I suppose that all then adds to the challenge of the traffic that comes up thicker, denser, and is a little harder to get through.
Yeah, for sure. I think both me and Jared had some difficulty with traffic on some parts of the track, and unfortunately you don't get a huge advantage with draft with these cars, so you got to be right behind someone to make a move.
Second place is very well done from you, and we go to the Adelaide Street Circuit in the MX-5 next round. What are your gut reactions to that?
Well, I've never driven a lap on that track, so I'm not sure yet.
Your gut reaction is indecision. Fascinating. We'll see you then, hopefully, and wish you the best, Ryan.
Yep, thank you, guys.
It means that for the 6th time running, our race winner is Michael Polasek, and he's going to join Devin.
6 for 6, Michael. It's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this win. Fortunately, everything went to plan, so I got a really good start. And fortunately, Jared and Ryan started fighting immediately, so I was able to run away from that. And from that point on, it was just about saving tires and managing the pretty insane drop-off that this setup has. It also doesn't help that the fixed set just has a huge amount of camber on it, so it just chews up the tires. But overall, pretty cut and dry race. I just had to keep it on the road and keep the tires underneath me, and we were all good.
I was going to say it looked like you were able to execute the pull away from everyone strategy, which I think you've tried a few times, but it hasn't always gone that smooth.
Yeah, the draft on these cars is significantly weaker, so a lot more hot lap paces factored into race results, and it's significantly harder to make moves around here. I'd imagine here it's very, very difficult to pass in identical cars with this limited draft, so qualifying was very important, and just managing to get a good getaway and getting everybody else out of the draft as soon as possible is key.
And now that we've finished at Mid-Ohio, can you tell us what the secret is? Where do you stick the NOS in your car?
The brake pedal.
It did look like you were really, really able to dive it in and kind of balance the car there.
I mean, that's how you drive these cars, is you control everything about this car on the brakes, and then you really only use the throttle to get around like the last 20-30% of the corner. So it's a lot of fun. I absolutely love these cars. If anybody out there does have iRacing and does not have these cars, buy them immediately. They are the best cars to race on the service.
Spoken like a guy who's won every TCR race he's ever entered, I think.
I've been driving these cars for a while.
That's quality stuff. And are you also as expert at the Adelaide Street Circuit as you are at Mid-Ohio?
Adelaide is a track I'm less familiar with, but it should generate some decent racing. Very, very difficult to string a good lap around there. So it's going to be interesting how the strategy is going to play out in the MX-5s. It's really all down to managing the big curbs there, the pretty confusing final sector, and then also, most importantly, avoiding that turn one slowdown, which is extremely easy to get.
Looking forward to seeing it, and we'll see if you can make it 7 for 7.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Well, Haynes,
Great to
another
hear
one in
from
the
our
books.
podium. Yeah, after 60 minutes of racing, and like you said, the MX5 at Adelaide to come. It's a very compact calendar to round out our 12 racing every second week with practice races in between, and it's never too late to join us. There's a ChampCar iRacing series information on the ChampCar homepage now, and you can also find us on Discord and forum.champcar.org. New people are joining every week, like Fawad Al Ridgely. What a great race he's had. 4th place in his first time in the ChampCar iRacing series. There was also another name or two out there that appeared new to me. But it doesn't immediately come to mind. So there we go, Adelaide Street Circuit, the 26th of August. Then 2 weeks later at Road America, and 2 weeks after that at Kota to complete the sprint schedule. Don't worry, there's 4 team endurance races after that with more great ChampCar prizes to be had. So sooner you join, sooner you're up to speed, the better your odds, I would say. Devin, what are your thoughts for the people as we leave Mid-Ohio?
Well, another quality day of racing and clean racing between drivers that really show the skills and the values of the ChampCar iRacing series, and the kind of folks you get to rub shoulders with if you head yourself out to a ChampCar ChampCar real world race. So hopefully, folks will take the opportunity to get on the simplest path to real world racing.
We've been HJBC. I've been David Haynes. That's been Devin Peters. Michael Derby, patient as ever in the production with our shenanigans as we say goodbye to Mid-Ohio and look forward to seeing you next time at the Adelaide Street Circuit.